Michael Strahan's 22.5 sacks in 2001, the most controversial record in NFL history because of how he got that final half sack. Brett Favre basically fell down on purpose. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Strahan had 22 legitimate sacks before that play, 22 sacks against offensive lines specifically game planning to stop him. And the modern NFL has made this record impossible through 3 changes that kill pass rushers. First, offensive lines are massive now. The average tackle in 2001 was 6'5", 315 pounds. Today, they're 6'6", 325 pounds, and run faster than linebackers from Strahan's era. Second, quarterbacks get rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds now compared to 2.8 seconds in 2001. 0.4 of a second is forever when you're trying to get around a human refrigerator. Third, you can't even hit quarterbacks anymore. In 2001, you could tee off on them. Today, you breathe on them wrong and it's 15 yards and a personal apology. TJ Watt tied this record in 2021 but needed 17 games to do it. Strahan did it in 16. That tells you everything about how impossible this has become. Brett Favre's 297 consecutive starts. Favre started 297 consecutive games as a quarterback. Not 297 games where he felt good, 297 games where he took the field regardless of what was broken. Separated shoulder, played. Broken thumb on his throwing hand, played the entire season with the cast. Severe concussion where he couldn't remember the plays, played and threw for 283 yards. The day after his father died, played and had one of the greatest performances in NFL history. Today's NFL would end this streak in 1 season. Concussion protocols alone would sideline him multiple times per year. Load management would rest him in meaningless games. Team doctors would shut him down for injuries he played through for 18 years. The current active leader among quarterbacks is Josh Allen with 88 games. He'd need to play every game for the next 13 seasons just to tie Favre's record. In an era where quarterbacks are worth $200 million, no team is risking that investment on a guy who's obviously hurt. Modern player safety killed the Ironman mentality. Playing hurt isn't toughness anymore, it's liability. Jerry Rice's 22,895 receiving yards. This isn't just a record, it's a number so big it breaks math. Rice has 5,403 more receiving yards than Larry Fitzgerald, who's second all-time. That means Fitzgerald could come out of retirement, have 2 straight 2,000-yard seasons, which has never happened, and still be 1,403 yards short. Rice played 20 seasons and averaged 1,144 receiving yards per year. That includes his final season when he was 42 years old and caught 25 passes. The man was superhuman. But this record was built on conditions that don't exist anymore. Rice played in the most receiver-friendly system ever designed, with Hall of Fame quarterbacks for 15 years. He missed only 17 games in his entire 20-year career. The salary cap killed this record. Teams can't keep elite receivers for 20 years anymore. Players retire earlier to preserve their health and money. The ball gets spread around to multiple receivers instead of feeding one guy. To break Rice's record, you'd need a receiver to average 1,500 yards for 15 straight seasons without missing time. That's not happening in today's NFL. Derrick Thomas's 7 sacks in 1 game? 7. Most defensive ends today don't get 7 sacks in an entire season. November 11, 1990, Chiefs vs. Seahawks. Thomas was playing with a separated shoulder, wearing a special harness just to lift his arm. It didn't matter. He destroyed Seattle's offensive line so completely that they started sliding their entire protection scheme toward him. But here's the heartbreak. Thomas will remember this game for the sack he didn't get. Final play, Seahawks trailing by 4, Dave Krieg escapes Thomas and throws a touchdown to win the game. 7 sacks and his team still lost. Modern offenses evolve specifically to prevent performances like this. Quick passing games eliminate pass rush time, protection schemes use multiple players to chip dangerous pass rushers, offensive coordinators game plan around elite rushers. Since Thomas's 7-sack game, Only 3 players have even gotten 6 sacks in a single game. The closest anyone has come to 7 is 5.5 sacks, and that happened once in the last 15 years. The window to make contact is smaller, quarterbacks get the ball out faster, and if you hit them wrong, it's 15 yards. Thomas's record represents the death of individual defensive dominance. The 1972 Miami Dolphins went 17-0. Perfect season, Super Bowl champions. The only team in NFL history to do it, and they did it 50 years ago. Since then, only 3 teams have even come close. The 1985 Bears lost 1 game. The 2007 Patriots lost in the Super Bowl. The 2009 Colts rested their starters and lost 2 meaningless games. The Dolphins dominated because competitive balance didn't exist. No salary cap meant good teams stayed good. No revenue sharing meant rich teams bought better players. The Dolphins were perfectly built to destroy inferior competition. Today's NFL is specifically designed to prevent teams like the 1972 Dolphins. Salary caps create parity. Draft systems give bad teams the best college players. Revenue sharing means small market teams can compete financially. The 17-game schedule makes perfection even harder. More games mean more opportunities to lose. Only 1 team has even started 16-0 since 1972, the 2007 Patriots. They lost in the Super Bowl, proving that even the best teams can't maintain perfection. Emmitt Smith's 18,355 rushing yards. Emmitt Smith rushed for 18,355 yards over 15 seasons. That's 1,629 more yards than Walter Payton, who held the record before Smith broke it. Smith averaged 1,223 rushing yards per season for 15 years. He rushed for over 1,000 yards in 11 different seasons, including 4 straight seasons with over 1,400 yards. The man was a machine. Smith played through injuries that would end careers today. In 1993, he separated his shoulder in the first quarter of a playoff game and kept playing. He rushed for 168 yards and the Cowboys won. In 1995, he played most of the season with a separated shoulder and still rushed for over 1,400 yards. The running back by committee approach killed this record. Teams today use multiple backs to preserve health. The passing game has evolved to make running backs more valuable as receivers than rushers. Salary cap restrictions make it impossible to keep elite backs for 15 years. The current active leader is Derrick Henry with 11,423 yards. He'd need to average 1,400 rushing yards for the next 5 seasons just to approach Smith's record. At 31 years old, that's not happening. No one gets 350 carries per season anymore because teams understand the physical cost. The bell cow running back is dead.
Jerry Rice's 274 consecutive games with a reception. Jerry Rice caught a pass in 274 straight games. That's 17 full seasons without a single off day, injury gap, or goose egg. This isn't just about skill. It's about durability, consistency, and never being irrelevant in the game plan. Even when he was the 3rd receiver, even when the team was stacked, even in garbage time, Rice got his catch. In today's NFL, players rest more, they sit out more, offensive schemes rotate more. There's always a game where the top receiver gets blanketed, they're used as a decoy, or they miss a week with a sore hamstring. But Jerry never had those days. He was always open, always relevant, always finding a way to get his hands on the football. To break this, you'd need a receiver who never misses a snap, never gets shut out, and plays until they're 40. In other words, you'd need Jerry Rice again. Flipper Anderson's 336 receiving yards. Flipper Anderson dropped 336 yards in a single game back in 1989. First of all, yes, that's a real person. And yes, he really did this. Anderson was a decent receiver with Olympic speed, but on that day against the Saints, he was unstoppable. He averaged over 30 yards per catch. His quarterback couldn't miss, and the Saints secondary might as well have been ghosts. Even with overtime helping boost the numbers, it was still a perfect storm, and modern legends haven't touched it. Calvin Johnson got close with 329 yards, so did Julio Jones, but the way NFL defenses adjust today, no receiver is getting that many deep shots without getting double-teamed, jammed, or just straight up ignored by their quarterback. This wasn't just a stat line, it was lightning in a bottle. Anderson caught 15 passes for 336 yards and somehow only had 1 touchdown. The math on that is insane. You'd have to be in another dimension of route running to replicate that today. Modern defenses don't allow receivers to run free for 4 quarters like that.
Adrian Peterson's 296 rushing yards. Adrian Peterson walked into a game against the Chargers in 2007 and absolutely lost his mind. 296 yards, no overtime, no tricks, just raw speed, vision, and violent, angry running. He didn't run like he was playing football. He ran like the ball owed him money, and the Chargers had no answers. What makes this record unbreakable isn't just the number, it's how the position has changed. Running backs today don't get enough touches. They split carries. They're used in the pass game. If someone runs for 150 yards now, they're practically getting a game ball in a post on the team Instagram. To break Peterson's record, a back would need 30-plus carries, a defense made of cardboard, and an offensive coordinator who refuses to throw the ball no matter what. And that just doesn't exist anymore. Unless we go back in time or Adrian Peterson comes out of retirement for one last game, this record is staying put. Calvin Johnson's 1,964 receiving yards. Calvin Johnson wasn't just a receiver. He was a glitch in real life. In 2012, Megatron posted 1,964 yards in a single season. And no, this wasn't in 17 games, it was in 16. With Matthew Stafford force-feeding him the ball like it was Thanksgiving dinner, Johnson was double-teamed, triple-teamed, bracketed, and it didn't matter. He still came down with jump balls like he was playing with magnets. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and Tyreek Hill have all made solid runs at this, but no one's broken it. Why? Because defenses adjust, game plans shift. Teams start calling 3-yard screens in the fourth quarter instead of taking deep shots to pad stats. Calvin had the rare combo of volume, talent, and a team bad enough to keep throwing every down. The Lions were always behind, so they kept throwing to their best player. If this record ever breaks, it'll take another once-in-a-generation receiver on a team willing to abuse the stat sheet. Until then, it's Megatron's world.
Randy Moss's 23 receiving touchdowns. Randy Moss caught 23 touchdowns in 2007. Let's set the stage. Tom Brady is on a mission. Randy Moss is back from Oakland football exile and mad at the world. The Patriots are angry, surgical, and out for blood. The result? 23 touchdowns in one season by one receiver. That's not a stat. That's a nightmare for defensive coordinators. Since then, not a single player has come within 3 touchdowns of this record, not even close. And here's why it'll probably never be broken. Today's offenses are balanced. Number 1 receivers get attention, but number 2 receivers and tight ends eat too. Teams spread the ball around. Coaches don't need to force one guy to ball in the red zone anymore. In 2007, Randy Moss was the red zone. To break this, someone would need a Hall of Fame quarterback, an MVP season, and a team that doesn't care about being nice. That's rare air, and Randy's still floating above it. Bruce Smith's 200 career sacks. This is a record that even the best edge rushers today might only reach if they clone themselves. Bruce Smith was a technician, a machine, a destroyer of quarterbacks for 19 straight years. He never slowed down, never took plays off, never had the luxury of being rotated out for fresh legs. The closest active player is Von Miller, and he's still 40 sacks away at age 34. That's how impossibly far away this record is. You'd need double-digit sacks per year, no missed seasons, no injury dips, no slow exits, and even then, it'll be close. Aaron Donald dominated for a decade and retired with 111 sacks. T.J. Watt has been elite for 6 years and has 77.5 sacks. Khalil Mack has been a force for 10 years and has 107.5 sacks. None of them are even halfway to Bruce Smith. Modern pass rushers don't play 19 years anymore. Their bodies can't handle it. Teams don't need them to. They rotate guys, manage workloads, preserve them for the playoffs. Bruce Smith didn't just pass Reggie White for this record. He passed the blueprint for defensive longevity. Now it's just him alone at the top of Sack Mountain, and nobody's climbing up there anytime soon.
Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowl wins. He won more championships than 28 NFL franchises have in their entire history. The next closest quarterbacks, Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw, won 4 each. Brady won more Super Bowls by himself than entire dynasties. He won 6 with the Patriots, then switched teams and immediately won another one with the Buccaneers at age 43. Brady's success was built on factors that would never align again. He played for the greatest coach ever in Bill Belichick. He took team-friendly contracts that let the Patriots build better rosters around him. He played in an era before the salary cap truly leveled the playing field. But most importantly, Brady had supernatural longevity. He played at an elite level for 20 years while staying healthy, maintaining team chemistry, and avoiding career-ending injuries. Modern quarterback contracts make this impossible. Elite quarterbacks take up 15 to 20% of their team's salary cap now. Brady's team-friendly deals allowed the Patriots to build championship rosters. Today's quarterbacks sign contracts that make it impossible to surround them with elite talent. Patrick Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls in 6 seasons. At that pace, he'd need to play for 21 more seasons to tie Brady's record. The math doesn't work. Brady's 7 Super Bowl wins represent the ultimate individual achievement in a team sport. It's the final proof that greatness can transcend systems, salary caps, and Father Time himself, but only under conditions that no longer exist and will never exist again. These records represent the last gasps of unlimited possibility in professional football, when players could destroy their bodies for our entertainment, and we called it greatness. This ain't entertainment. It's therapy. Sub up. Be part of the legacy.